You're out of order. You're out of order. Asterisk, asterisk, those shouts echoed through a packed room as tensions exploded yet again in Dalton, Illinois. Village trustees and frustrated residents raised their voices in heated debates over spending and the absence of new budget. Notably absent was Mayor Tiffany Henyard, who was a no-show at the special meeting called by trustees. But that didn't stop her from being the focus of blistering public criticism. "I'm not going to stop until she's behind bars," one resident declared at the microphone, reflecting the fury spreading through the small South suburban village. For months, Dalton has been locked in a dramatic political standoff, and Henyard, once a rising political figure, is now at the center of a storm. Trustees have accused her of gross financial mismanagement, fueling public outrage and pushing the village closer to financial collapse. The latest flashpoint? Henyard recently held a heated meeting without the trustees, bypassing their oversight, which triggered an unprecedented move. The trustees, in turn, held their own meeting without her, escalating the power struggle to new heights. The stakes are only rising. Former Chicago Mayor Lori Lightfoot, now acting as a special investigator, is expected to soon release findings from her probe into village's finances, a development that could have major consequences. As WGN's Eric Rohn reported live from Dalton, it's been anything but business as usual. Residents have been packing village meetings, demanding answers, and sounding the alarm about how the village is being run. People around here want what's best for the community, not what's best for Tiffany. A resident shouted. This village is being run into the ground. At the center of the fight is Dalton's rapidly deteriorating financial situation. Trustees accuse Henyard of overspending recklessly and mismanaging public funds, while Henyard insists she's a target of political retribution. This village is bleeding, one trustee warned. If these residents knew the truth, they'd hit the roof. In a tense board meeting, trustees voted to restrict the use of village credit cards, lay off several workers, and place Deputy Police Chief Lewis Lacey on administrative leave. Their priority: stopping the financial hemorrhaging. They accuse Henyard of shifting funds between accounts in ways that don't make sense and spending large sums, sometimes thousands of dollars, without board approval. The money troubles are spilling out into the open. Recently, new welcome banners were installed around Dalton, but the company that designed them says it still hasn't been paid. When trustees moved to cancel several upcoming village events, citing the budget crisis, Henyard fired back, claiming the cancellations were personal attacks against her. This isn't about the events, Henyard declared. You guys are operating with hatred in your hearts. You're acting out of feelings, not facts, and it's unfair to us. She defended her record, claiming that Thornton Township, where she also serves as supervisor, has a budget surplus thanks to her leadership. But the trustees weren't buying it. In a dramatic 3-hour meeting, Henyard ordered Finance Director Robert Hunt to read aloud more than 100 line items that trustees wanted to slash. Among them were thousands of dollars spent on Amazon orders, large purchases of cakes for community events, and tens of thousands earmarked for the one-day Taste of Thornton Township Festival. We just had a couple events in the past month or so that spent an extraordinary amount of money, unnecessarily, one trustee remarked. As the board voted to cancel upcoming events like House Fest and Gospel Fest, Henyard doubled down, accusing the trustees of using the financial crisis as an excuse to attack her personally. But her defensive posture only reinforced the perception that she takes every disagreement as a personal slight. Meanwhile, scrutiny of Henyard's dual role as Thornton Township supervisor is growing. While she touts her success in reducing the township's deficit, trustees and critics are skeptical. They've raised serious questions about her claims and suspect her spending habits are more about self-promotion than serving the public. What's becoming increasingly clear is that Henyard's political survival is on the line. The investigation led by Lori Lightfoot has been sparked by allegations of corruption, and Lightfoot's findings, expected soon, could determine whether Henyard's administration weathers a storm or collapses under mounting pressure. Instead of calming the situation, Henyard's combative approach has only deepened the divisions. Rather than take accountability for the village's mounting unpaid bills, she's continued to deflect, pointing the finger at the trustees. All the while, she has kept pushing forward on lavish events that seem designed more to bolster her personal image than to benefit Dalton's residents. The mounting anger among residents is palpable. Public comment sessions have become a vending ground for frustrated taxpayers demanding transparency and accountability. The trustees, for their part, appear determined to rein in Henyard's spending and prevent what they see as a looming financial disaster. This is targeted harassment, Henyard declared, brushing aside the accusations. But with every canceled event, every unpaid vendor, and every angry voice at the microphone, the pressure is building. The clash between Henyard and the trustees has thrown Dalton into political chaos. What was once just tense boardroom bickering has become a full-scale crisis. The trustees' unprecedented decision to hold meetings without the mayor underscores just how broken the relationship has become. With the village budget on the verge of collapse, many residents are wondering how much longer this power struggle can continue before irreparable damage is done. As the community awaits the results of the Lightfoot investigation, one thing is certain. Dalton is a village on the brink. Whether Henyard can hold on to her position, and whether the trustees can force the financial course correction they believe is necessary, remains to be seen. For now, the political drama shows no signs of slowing down, and the stakes for Dalton's future couldn't be higher. In an escalating attempt to deflect blame, Dalton Mayor Tiffany Henyard has pointed fingers at the village trustees, accusing them of being responsible for Dalton's mounting debt. But her efforts to shield herself from accountability are increasingly unraveling. Most notably, Henyard vetoed a proposed FBI investigation into her financial actions, only to have her veto swiftly overturned, adding another layer of chaos to an already spiraling situation. Fueling the fire further, Henyard recently reappointed Police Chief Louis A. Lacey, despite the fact that Lacey is currently facing federal bankruptcy fraud charges. Trustees argue that his reappointment is illegal, but Henyard has refused to back down, further alienating herself from the board and deepening the fractures in village leadership. The atmosphere has become so toxic that trustees have been forced to hold meetings outside of the village hall after Henyard supporters allegedly locked them out. With each passing day, it's becoming clearer that Henyard's defiance and combative approach are only making matters worse. In township meetings, Henyard has repeatedly clashed with trustees, accusing them of orchestrating a smear campaign against her. Yet, despite mounting evidence of mismanagement and financial misconduct, Henyard has escalated the drama, doing everything she can to cling to control. Her attempts to block investigations and sidestep trustee authority have left the village teetering on the edge of political collapse. The trustees recently voted to suspend Chief Lacey, but in a stunning act of defiance, Lacey reported to work the following day, claiming the board had no authority to place him on leave. This has only added to confusion, chaos, and growing concerns over Henyard's judgment and leadership. Adding to the turmoil, Henyard made another controversial move by appointing Michael A. Smith as the new village administrator with a $100,000 annual salary, all without board approval. Smith's history raises serious red flags. In 2018, while working as an assistant dean at Thornton Fractional High School, he was fired for sexual harassment after allegedly contacting a 15-year-old female student on Snapchat, sending inappropriate messages and grooming her. There were also accusations of inappropriate behavior toward a male student. Despite Smith's disturbing background, Henyard has defended the appointment, claiming he brings valuable experience to Dalton. But for trustees and many residents, this is just one more example of her deeply questionable decision-making and her growing disregard for public trust. Meanwhile, Henyard has been pushing forward controversial policies, such as dramatically increasing fines for unkempt lawns, from $75 to $500. This move has enraged many residents, who see it as yet another example of Henyard's disconnect from the community and her tendency to impose harsh penalties while the village's larger problems go unaddressed. Trustees argue that these kinds of actions further alienate residents and fuel the public backlash against her administration. As investigations into Henyard's spending and conduct continue, the divisions within Dalton are only deepening. The once solid support base Henyard enjoyed is now rapidly eroding, with community trust in her leadership at an all-time low. Henyard's defiance has been particularly evident in how she's handled governance. In a stunning move, after a regularly scheduled board meeting was canceled due to lack of quorum, Henyard went ahead and held her own meeting anyway. Despite the absence of enough trustees, she pushed through the appointment of Smith as village administrator and named a new village attorney. Trustee Jason House immediately criticized the move, declaring that these appointments were invalid and warning that the appointees would not be paid. This bold but questionable action comes as Henyard faces mounting legal and ethical scrutiny. Most notably, the Illinois Attorney General's office recently issued a binding opinion stating that Dalton's government had repeatedly violated the state's Open Meetings Act over the summer. The ruling mandates that all future village meetings must be fully open to the public, provide adequate space for residents, and ensure that streets are not closed off or parking restricted during meetings. This ruling adds to Henyard's growing list of legal troubles and further highlights the cracks in her administration. But beyond illegal appointments and open meetings violations, there are increasingly alarming reports of Henyard's misuse of taxpayer funds. Allegations have surfaced that Henyard has spent thousands of public dollars on personal luxuries, including extravagant trips and even luxury cars, reportedly given not only to herself but also to her mother and boyfriend. Despite these mounting concerns, Henyard's spending appears to have continued unchecked, leaving many wondering just how far her misuse of public funds has gone, and whether anyone will be able to rein her in. With each passing week, Henyard's actions raise more and more eyebrows. The question is no longer simply whether her financial practices will catch up to her. It's whether her time as mayor is rapidly running out. Dalton's trustees, residents, and investigators are closing in, with multiple investigations poised to expose the full scope of Henyard's actions. As the political and financial scandal deepens, the pressure on Henyard is intensifying, and the situation within the village government continues to evolve rapidly. Whether Henyard can hold on to her grip on power, or whether the growing wave of backlash will finally bring her tenure to an end, remains to be seen. For now, Dalton stands on the brink, waiting to see how the next chapter of this political drama will unfold. Stay tuned for further updates as this unfolding scandal moves toward what many see as an inevitable reckoning.